Down the shore, there's a box under the sand. It's a case of catch me if you can. Make a mess of any other man, but darling, if you wanna dare, count your steps, 1, 2, 3. Make your mark on little old me. When you come to something waiting to be free, do it as fast as you can. Under the sun, right in the sand, holding me in the palm of your hand.
David Vasquez writes, I sincerely feel bad for non-believers. God is very obvious. I wrote him, what you call God, I call the science of nature. Brooklyn Ragtag writes, your pity is misplaced. Don't you find it the least bit suspicious that every single claim about God is either unfalsifiable or demonstrably false? In other words, God never reveals anything testable that is both A, previously unknown to the recipient of God's message, and B, demonstrably true. You don't find this odd? I wrote, he doesn't need all that. He has a book that tells him so. He writes, David Vasquez writes, I can't tell whether you're a male or a female, which confirms you're a confused individual. God is immaterial, eternal. Science is limited. He writes to Brooklyn Ragtag, not testable because God is transcendent, immaterial. Can you run any sort of science test on love? Is it not real to you? Actually, I'm sure you can run science tests on love. It's a human emotion. It actually manifests itself. It exists, and I'm sure it is testable. I wrote, David Vasquez, you can't tell my gender? Sounds like you're the confused individual. God is nothing. You can make up whatever details about your imaginary friend as you wish, but something that does not manifest itself or affect the world in any way, shape, or form may as well not exist. There's nothing to show it does exist, so I'm pretty sure it does not. No confusion there. Science, however, does exist, and yes, it is limited. But in my 51 years, it has explained a great deal that 51 years ago, it couldn't explain. And guess what? Every time it explains a natural reason for something we previously did not understand, your imaginary friend gets smaller and smaller. David, I wrote him a second time. Or maybe the gender comment is supposed to hurt my feelings. That's what Christians do. When they can't argue like grown-ups, they resort to attacking people with personal put-downs. Way to act like a Christian. How very predictable. David Vasquez writes me, Dee Free D, I think you tried to insult me first. You're also on here, which is another reason you're confused. Let me ask you a question. Is your science of nature conscious? I wrote, did I insult you? Well then, pardon me. I am here not because I'm confused, but because, as a former Christian for over 35 years, I'm rather hardwired to want to help other people escape delusion the same way that I did when I escaped Christianity. I was raised to tell people about the good news. But the good news itself was a lie and a con, and now maybe a part of me is wanting to make up for the damage I myself may have caused others by spreading such poison. I see a video like this, I want to post something just in case someone is in a position to read what I post and it makes them think twice. When I was still a Christian, all it took for me to really think twice was a friend I respected spoke up finally while I was busy prattling on about all the lies I had been spoon-fed to believe. Him saying something and realizing he didn't believe and everyone didn't believe just as I did was enough to get me thinking for real. So maybe I come here hoping to drop a sentence or two that makes a positive difference for somebody else. Science is a thing. It doesn't have a conscience, but the living things in nature do. It comes from having a brain, which is a natural thing explained by nature. So I guess in that respect, yes, nature has a conscience. Then I wrote him. I always have to write people twice. Hey, if it makes you feel superior to imagine that I'm confused, go for it. I really don't care what you think. David Vasquez writes to me, if I can get my computer to work. Suddenly it's being weird. Oh, God. Come on, computer. Ugh. Oh, it's freaking out on me. Okay, I guess I can't read what he just, the response to that. Okay. I wrote him back. He wrote something about what you are referring to, my friend. Why do Christians always do that? They call somebody who doesn't agree with them my friend. Or they say, I love you. He wrote me, what you are referring to, my friend, is religion, not God. I wish I could finish reading what he wrote. He also wrote something, if you think conscious is simply the brain, you have not dug into the subject deep enough. I wrote, you're the one who called me confused. Guess there's a lot of confused Christians frequenting atheist videos. Unfortunately, religion exists. God, not so much. He writes, yes, there's a lot of religion-based people who are confused, such as you were. Christianity is truly spirituality, not religion. Excuse me. Do you recall what Paul wrote about? It's a book, dude. It's a book. And what Paul wrote has as much interest to me as what J.R.R. Tolkien wrote about Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit. I like the Christians tend to worship Paul more than they follow Paul more than they follow Jesus. Anyway, do you recall what Paul wrote about a Christian always having an answer when questioned about his hopes, beliefs? It sounds to me like you were the type that did not always have a logical answer because you truly did not know Christianity. Of course I didn't know Christianity. I wasn't a real Christian. That must explain it. I just wasn't a real Christian. Because you truly did not know Christianity and therefore brainwashed to there is no God. No, I wasn't actually brainwashed. I tried very hard to resist the understanding that there is no God. I fought it. I went looking for answers because I was trying to cling to my beliefs and cling to the belief that it was real and true. Looking for answers unraveled what little belief I had left. But whatever, you can't talk to these people. They're like up in the clouds, floating around, and all they hear is their own little voice, and that's it. And it's like talking to a wall. I wrote, Christianity is a cult. It certainly is a religion. Funny that you would invoke Paul, since modern-day Christianity follows his teachings a lot more than the fictional Jesus' teachings. I truly did know Christianity, and I was a real Christian. The God delusion is nothing more than that, than a placebo effect. Thanks for the typical Christian same old responses. It gets so old. And yes, there are a lot of confused Christians. If there was an actual truth to this lie, there would be only one interpretation of it, not the thousands of interpretations there are. Somebody named Gina, this guy's even more obnoxious than the David guy. Gina Malitia, M-A-L-I-T-I-A, writes, Deity Free D, I am a Christian light worker. I have felt God. I have seen beings of pure light, ghosts, demons, elementals, fairies. Yes, my mental state is way above normal. I have been tested many times. Why do you presume to judge everyone that is not like you? You should take a look at what makes you lash out and fix that. You don't have the answers. You have your viewpoint. Notice how I have not insulted you but called out what you are doing. Why should I judge you? Actually, that's not a bad comment. But you know what's funny is Christians do it. And that's what makes atheists do it, you know? It's really hard to take the high road when people are constantly telling you that you have no morals, that you don't understand something that you lived for 35 years. It's hard to take the high road. It's hard to walk away and not say anything when you're constantly under attack and your character is under attack. This same person writes me, you say you were a Christian, but did you read the Bible in Latin? More translations are off. Latin is the only means to translate the Bible in a somewhat correct sense. Did you read the Gnostic texts and the Dead Sea Scrolls? I have. You're speaking from a place of hate. I believe God exists in many forms to many different people. Who am I to say they are wrong? I take it you have dove into nothingness and have all the answers, correct? I have read every holy book there is. Tell me why you are right. I would like an explanation without the attack. Attacking makes you look ignorant. I wrote him back. It's just a book, put together by men who had an agenda. So if I hang it upside down and wear special night vision glasses, will it make more sense? Oh, please. Real truth is never so evasive. It doesn't require special wisdom or insight to decipher. It shouldn't require apologists or spawn over 4,000 different interpretations, all proclaiming themselves to be the right one. Real truth would have only one clear as a bell interpretation, obvious to even the least intelligent child. Your God's so-called all-important message, if it was true, would be exactly this, and it is absolutely not. All I see in the Bible is a book inspired by bigoted, sexist, hateful men with an agenda. It is a vile, destructive lie, and so is this baby-killing monster you call God. Gino writes me back. I am not quite sure what you're exactly trying to say. You have an attack approach in a talk. Why? You have no ammunition except your hate. You're a raving mad woman. I love how people will say anything they want behind a screen. I have had over 20 talks with atheists and agnostics. I would imagine a few would act like you on a computer, laugh out loud. Only one had the gall to act a tenth as crazy as you. I knew 20 plus fights, and 21 years of martial arts would come in handy. Trolls and their keyboards, laughing out loud. Is inbreeding a big plus in your little town? You see, I can do it too, but there is no fun in that. You're nuts. I can sense the energy of your hate through a screen. That is crazy. You need Thorazine or lithium. Please get some help. There is something very negative near you. You know exactly what I am talking about. I would assume. I doubt you will admit it. Damn, he's caught me. Oh no, I've been caught. I wrote him, you have no reasonable reply, so you attack me personally. How totally typical. You mistake contempt for hate, and you attack me for the anger I feel for the harm this cult causes. They respond to what points I make. Your God and this cult causes harm in the world. It is a contemptible lie. You want to attack me personally instead? What a coward you are. Does putting me down and telling me I need help make you feel superior? Wow, whatever it takes, right? I got help when I cut the chains of this Christian deception from my life. David Vasquez writes, JD Free D, you clearly have some serious denial issues. Instead of devoting your time to hate and try to convince yourself that God isn't real, I think you better speak to God. Listen to your conscience. Listen to that little voice inside of you. Don't waste your time here on earth fighting, avoiding God. Deep down, you're also fighting and hurting yourself. Don't listen to what people tell you. You have your own relationship with your Creator. Try it before it's not too late and this life ends. I wrote him a very angry letter back. I have to say, I'm very angry. I was so angry when I wrote it back. I used the F word a few times. I might not read it all because it's kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, you know what? I hate people that drive me to, that make me so angry. I wrote, excuse me? I don't have to convince myself God isn't real. It doesn't take convincing. Sorry. Please spare me your patronizing crap. I do not have a little voice inside of me. I studied a great deal about how the cult Christianity came to exist and how the Bible came to exist, and I realized it was a gigantic con job put together by very corrupt men trying to hold power in the dwindling Roman Empire. I simply could not believe in the bullshit once I was made aware that the bullshit is all it is. Now you want to patronize me and imagine I'm all these things, hateful, whatever. Be my guest, but you are showing profound arrogance by presuming you know something about me, or anything about me. I would not go back down the road to blind and ignorant delusion for all the money in the world. My life is more than half over, and I only just started discovering who I really am about 5 years ago. I finally, after a great deal of denial, because I didn't want to have to face the fact that I had lived a lie more than half my life, threw out the hideous chains of this vile religion, this cult and delusion that causes so much harm to people's lives, society, and the world. Does it make you feel superior to write such things to me? Grow up, please. You want people to respect your beliefs? Start showing a little respect for others. I do not believe in your fucking genocidal tribal war god. Get the fuck over it and leave me alone. I am angry because of Christians like you. Exactly because of Christians like you who belittle and put down other people for simply not being able to believe in your delusion. Well, fuck you. People like you are what give Christianity a very bad taste in other people's mouths. Even when I was a Christian, I had contempt for Christians like you who treat others with such profound disrespect. How amazingly arrogant. Maybe you should try listening to that little voice screaming inside you to fucking use your brain and think independently. Have you ever? Seriously, if you're hearing voices, maybe you should get some help. One question, do you write to males who disagree with you like this? Or just because I'm a woman that you feel that you can attack me personally instead of actually addressing what points I make? Don't answer that. I am not up to reading any more condescending bullshit notes from you. Let me get my blood pressure down. Brooklyn Ragtag writes, lots of people claim God communicates with them, but the tremendous divergence in the messages that people claim they got directly from God is strong evidence against this claim. Do you notice that God never tells you anything you don't already know? This is an entirely testable claim, although I've yet to find a theist who is willing to actually test this claim. You could be the first. How convinced are you that God is actually communicating with you? Oh, Lord. Here's his response to me. I wouldn't be able to get under your skin and ruin your day if I wasn't speaking the truth. You're telling me to think and use my brain, but I honestly don't think you're at that mature level. I don't think it's possible without God. Nothing that you've said, or any non-believers knowing all that I know, has ever a ghost ever a ghost affected me in a negative way. Actually, everything you've said has confirmed to me that you're in denial, or simply have something against God. From the start, I told you we were equal. I do not feel superior to you. I don't recall you making a single point either. Bring it up again, please. Your life on the Bible and its history, your info on the Bible and its history is very inaccurate. My friend, of course he called me friend. Isn't that special? So anyway, I basically ended this conversation by sending him a link to my video, The Bird, which is the one where I do this really in slow motion with the 2001 Space Odyssey music. So that's it. I just want to share this little conversation. It really pisses me off. I would continue with the video, but I have to go to work. So anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.